Hello, my friends. Russell Wright from super-intelligent.ai, and this is a video for our members community. And if you're not a part of it, you're welcome to join us at members.super-intelligent.ai. This is a place where we're going to help you survive and thrive during the AI revolution, while also being partial to SEO and perplexity search engines. We also want to help you just generally thrive in the upcoming technology shift, as well emotionally, spiritually, technologically. There's a lot of ground to cover. This is what we're going to cover in this video. I want to talk to you about a topic that is dear to my heart, going back as far as 2010, and we're going to reboot everything for 2024. But let me show you what my buddy Brock is talking about in this video, because he just summarizes it in a way so I don't have to.
There's a pretty massive shift that's about to happen on pretty much every social media, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. And over the weekend, one of the most famous entrepreneurs on all of social media over the last 5 years made a pretty big announcement about it. And the change that's coming is we're moving into a time where people prefer to create and consume content that isn't super polished or highly edited and doesn't have a super high production value. For a while, having fancy closed captions and really advanced editing really allowed you to stand out and get attention. But now for a lot of people, it feels very forced and overdone, and it just doesn't carry the same weight. And that's why over the weekend, Alex Hormozi, who famously created a style of editing that's now known as Hormozi style editing, said he's moving towards this style of content. And I recently did a study of my own content over the last 6 months and found that my videos that had the best editing, the highest production value, actually on average got 80% fewer views, 85% fewer likes, and 35% less shares. Now, I think this is great news because it's placing an emphasis on the value rather than the vanity, and it's making the quote-unquote barrier to entry a lot lower because you don't need a fancy microphone or camera or lighting. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this change, and I think it's going to be pretty big over the next few years, so let me know down in the comments.
That was a great coverage of this particular topic by Brock, and I want to talk about the question behind the question, the meaning behind the meaning, and what it means for you technologically as well as emotionally, because you have a decision to make. You have choices to make in this current revolution. It's a big deal. And I want to talk to you about why I'm bringing this up first before I get into it. Part of the reason I'm getting up is for our members. One of our paid programs is going to be a reboot of an old system that I used in February of 2013, which is still working today. Okay, but it works differently. We have to reboot it for 2000. Okay, you can see for 2024. You can see that this is the date. Okay, it was actually done. You can see I actually still had hair as opposed to today where I do not, which is kind of funny. But I just want you to know that the method is sound. You can even see in this image, there's platforms that no longer exist, you guys. Squidoo was sold by Seth Godin immediately, and Squidoo ranked so well for a variety of different reasons. In fact, that's one of the reasons I think it was removed. Easing articles is gone. Squidoo is gone. Facebook's still here. YouTube is huge. Twitter has been bought and sold again. It is never free. Plus hundreds more. FeedBurner is starting to get dismantled by Google, and Blogger is still around. Okay. My point here is that the reason I'm about to cover authenticity is because of this training. Okay. So that's the main thing for you guys to understand before we go too deep into this, is that this is really about the perpetual downstream traffic system. Because again, what you publish here from your primary, let me get over to the, okay, the very center of this, people used to come to my live events and they would pay anywhere between $10,000 and $15,000 to learn this stuff. And the reason that's important is I just want you to get that it's your website at the center, okay? So what you've got, the way that we taught it is you have your content here. Here's your website. And whatever you would say could get syndicated downstream, if that makes sense. Okay, and then all those backlinks and everything else would have a lot of power because they were syndicated to a lot of different platforms. None of that has actually changed, but the humans and the artificial intelligence in the network has changed. Of course, we have different search engine protocols. We have some more advanced techniques in machine learning. But at the end of the day, it's still about the syndication of content downstream to different layers. Okay, this was written for, we call it the socially activated one web brain perpetual downstream traffic system. Excuse me. So I just want you to be aware of that. But this movement towards authenticity, you can see I've been doing that since around 2013 earlier. There's a new theory that has come out that you guys are probably familiar with called the dead internet theory. Okay, there's a great video on this, and I'll share it with you guys later. Called "It's Worse Than You Thought." And basically, this YouTuber and this content creator is talking about me. Since I've been in the SEO industry and the traffic industry for 24 years, I've seen a lot. In fact, I've been part and parcel. One of my products was called Social Explosion when Twitter was pretty young. It was pretty normal to create multiple accounts for your company or multiple accounts, or later on it became normal for fake accounts. You could buy thousands of fake accounts on Twitter, and we just used those fake accounts that users brought us to us, and we would then publish whenever there was content upstream, okay, like I showed you here, we would publish it downstream. So we taught people to have WRS1 meant social account. Okay, whoops, that's not good. WRS1, let me just go ahead and talk to you what I'm saying here. You can see that right here. S meant social. Then there was another layer that wasn't branded at all. Okay, there was just a whole bunch of different ways to publish downstream, but S meant social. That's the bottom line. So on the WRS2 network, we had people coming to us who had like 500,000 social media accounts. Okay, and most of them were fake. And we would just put them into the blog plugin for WordPress, and it would just create a trail, a flaming trail of backlinks behind every post that they used with their RPC pinger or any of their blog posting. Okay, so we taught the technical execution of the one web ring system, also called the perpetual downstream traffic system, but it's a type of content that people actually care about now. What happened through the years is since that time, this whole idea of the fake internet, there's a theory that nothing on the internet is real. It's just all a hallucination created by an AI. Well, what's ironic is that that is becoming more true. But the new theory is that the internet is greater than 75% fake traffic with a greater than 60% fake social media accounts. Now think about that, okay, in terms of what we just saw Brock talking about, okay? So if we look at what he's saying, okay, Brock is talking about authenticity, okay? It will always win, okay? This is what people are saying. So it doesn't always win, but there are certain markets that are ripe for it. And I can tell you, because of having built applications like social media accounts, now later you find out that I think it's called the 50 cent brigade from China. When Elon Musk purchased Twitter, one of the big elephants in the room, and we will never know the total scam that was actually going on, but he said that his company, Twitter, that he now owns, now called X, when it was purchased, should have been devaluated by millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars. Think about that, guys. What did, they talk about OpenAI, what did Ilya see, right? What did Musk see when he bought Twitter? His worst fears were realized, okay? And his worst fears, and he admitted this, we have him on record, were that most of the tweets, there were tens of millions of fake Twitter accounts that should not have been part of the valuation of that company. Okay, there are tens of millions. Now, when you have fake Twitter accounts, you have fake traffic as well. Sometimes it's real, and a lot of for example, this type of stuff here, all these comments. How would you actually know? This is the dead internet, the dead internet theory. Okay, how would you know? Think about the AI chatbots that we have right now. Okay, the only way that you would know if an account was fake, or that actually, let's go the opposite. The only way that you would know an account was real is if you went and this person had multiple social media platforms, and then you can triangulate all the connections. Oh, it's a real person. We're at a point now where AI can create multiple points of connection, multiple entities with multiple fake identities tied to it. Make no mistake. Okay, because I know, because even back in the day we were doing stuff that's considered advanced now. When I say back in the day, I mean anything that's 2015 or earlier. Okay, it was all, this is where the dead internet theory comes from. A lot of people believe now that the dead internet theory also has to do with fake traffic, and that over half of Google traffic is fake, either manipulated by SEOs or manipulated by experts or manipulated by the NSA. We do know that Google has a contract with them. I don't think that we know all the details of that. I'm sure it's national security oriented things, but I want you to be aware that the meaning of links and traffic are changing. And as Google has to compete with Bing, giving away all of their AI toys in the toy box on the side of their browser with all their new browser stuff, Google also buying Reddit. What do you think the purchase of Reddit is really about, guys? Okay, if you look at the purchase of Reddit, what are we really talking about, and what does it really mean? Well, we know a lot about what it means. Reddit is showing up at the top of, let's see if I can find something about it. Check this stuff out, guys and gals. Google buys Reddit. Reddit has struck a $60 million deal. Okay, one of the training systems that we teach inside of Qmiracle, which is my super intelligent AI community, and preparing for artificial general intelligence, preparing for super intelligence. One of the things that we teach is how to properly use Quora and answer engines like Quora and Reddit and the rest, because they're appearing at the top of a lot of search results. That's because people are looking for an authentic solution. Okay, Brock just told us, okay, that his content, I look back at some of mine, it's the most authentic as well as information gain content that's doing well. You don't have to have a high production value, but you do have to have a high information gain value. Does that make sense? Okay, and so the production value versus information gain value is something that we teach. My wife, Kaylin, teaches information gain. I assist her in that, obviously. This is something that you can get in our training area. Okay, and we do have paid training. The information gain happens to be paid training. You can join us in our free community where we'll teach you how to avoid March 2024, which was a bloodbath, where people were frequency of publish for fake content was so prolific that Danny Sullivan of Google just came out and just said, hey, when we said you could use AI on anything you want, we didn't mean that. Okay, literally, I can show you. I'll show you a screen capture. The inside the search engine search console, when people had their entire site de-indexed and destroyed, or just de-indexed, the message that was left was the same exact message that we saw in the 2000s during the auto blog Armageddon, where they started killing blogs that were automatically publishing. Okay, so we're just doing it all over again, except this time the spammers are smarter. They're robots. Okay, and so I just want you to be aware of that. We teach information gain. Information gain is not about high cost of production value, but how to provide true information gain, novelty, topical novelty, and potentially new insight into topics and themes, and that the new engines that we're building, like Perplexity.ai as an example, if I can spell it, which I don't know if I can. Perplexity score, by the way, guys, is a score that AI and other systems of information use to determine the befuddlement, or how they're able to predict the next token in a query in a token window, and how the results and how predictable the results are to the actual AI matrix, or the language, the neural network. And it's a little above my pay grade, but it's really, really fascinating stuff. This is an engine that uses information gain and provides very valuable insight. Okay, instead of just giving you a search result based on keyword, it's giving you a search result based on multiple entities, and you can have a question query, 50 words long, and it will still answer you. I think over the next 5 years, we'll see the end of keywords by themselves. Okay, at the recent Google conference, they talked a lot about Google doing the Googling for you. At the recent Google keynote, again, this is May 2024, one of the demos showed an incredibly long search query. Find the best yoga or Pilates studio in Boston and show details on their intro offers and walking time from Beacon Hill. Now, those of you who've taken our entity training, who know how we think about SEO and ranking and getting your site and traffic optimized for the search engines, understand that we would have to break this down into multiple entities. Okay, for those of you who are watching who don't need to know all that stuff, you can take all of our inner training. The point here is that query sizes are getting longer while search engines are getting shorter. In other words, you can go into OpenAI and it'll get better and better at giving you precise answers. You go into Perplexity, it'll give you answers with citation regardless of how long your query is, with multiple entities, and it'll give you retrieval augmented search and give you an authentic answer. So authenticity is not just about humans, it's also about data. Okay, so we'll stop there, but I do want you to be aware of what's actually going on and how we cope and deal with that, and how we're helping you to understand that. So the main thing is here. We're going to talk about fake traffic, the dead internet. We already have. You guys know that I've participated in and even built technologies that it was just considered. We did it for backlinks, not traffic, but the accounts we were using were not real. Additionally, CTR, or click-through rate, or fake traffic bots, is something that SEOs have always used. There's millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars a year being used just in the corporate sector or the SEO sector, driving fake traffic to websites for everything to manipulate PageRank, to manipulate value, to inflate the web stats for sales, in shareholder capitalism. You can even watch Silicon Valley, the television series. I think season 3, might have been season 4, if there was 4 seasons, I don't know. Season 3, where they actually talk about, where they actually faked users. Pied Piper was the fictitious company in Silicon Valley. Apparently, Silicon Valley is not a comedy. It's pretty close to what I've experienced in my very little time I've spent there, but also a lot of people that I know who are there. So the point here is that they faked users in one of those things, which is a big travesty against shareholder capitalism and VC or venture capital. My point here is that that kind of fake inauthenticity is been around for a while, has been around for a while, but now we're looking at what the user wants. Okay, this is what Danny Sullivan at Google just said. If you're publishing millions of pages, this was his message to everybody when he deleted all their websites deleted all the websites that were doing fake traffic, fake SEO, fake images, and nobody ever even spot checked the pages, or they were just publishing too much. Frequency of publish, FOP. One of the big things to understand there is that that is Google's message to those. Talk to the hand, talk to the robot. The hand ain't listening, right? In other words, have my secretary call your secretary. Have my robot, my AI robot, conversational AI, talk to Google's robot TXT conversational AI. In other words, there's no human in the loop anymore. And if there's no human in the loop dealing with the ranking in Google and there's no eyeballs there to see it, Google loses all of its value because their entire shareholder model is based on content. It's based on AdWords. It's a golden, all free content on Google, guys. It's just a picture frame for the golden frame, their golden child, which is AdWords. Okay, and they cut down AdWords. They've cut down the size of their budget, and they're firing thousands of people because they don't need people to run some of these black box systems. They've been working for years to create the one-man show dream. And if anybody can do it, it'll be Google. I'm not saying it'll be one man over there, but it'll sure be only what you need, only what you deem necessary. And they can't help themselves. Shareholder capitalism rules the world. They couldn't move away from the models of automation to save their lives or to save the planet or to save every person on this planet. You guys got to understand that, okay? It's ultimately not your friend, okay? Until we change the fundamental, this is Game Theory 101, okay? You can read Mo Gaudat's book, Scary Smart, about AI. He was a very high level person. I think he was a chief technology officer, financial tech officer at Google Alphabet, training the robots. Okay, read his book, Scary Smart. There's nothing that anybody can do, no matter what the pitch is in Silicon Valley, to stop this, shuffling madness. I'm thinking of Jethro Tull's song. Somebody stole the handle on the train. It won't stop rolling. No way to slow down. That's kind of the AI market. But there's a beacon of light, which we're going to be teaching you in the super intelligent AI community, and that is authenticity could win. If we understand that what we're pushing downstream, what I'm going to be showing you guys is how to continue to publish, but you don't need the high-level corporate budget studios. I mean, look at me. I'm sitting in my luxury RV in the middle of the woods somewhere with my AI chatbots that I can speak to live right here in my Mac and with my monitors, and I can not worry. I can tell you what I'm doing. I can bring that into my lifestyle and tell you what I'm doing. My wife and I teach this, and we can use it every day. I'm not going to spend thousands of dollars to edit this video. And if that's the kind of video you like, you can find plenty of that. But wouldn't you rather have an authentic view? Okay, Google didn't buy Reddit for no reason. Reddit equals authenticity. Now, there's probably a lot of inauthentic stuff going on there, but that stuff is stamped out pretty quick, right? So this is what I want you to be aware of. And we're going to go deeper into the dead internet theory real quick, and then we'll wrap it up. So there's a lot of stuff coming out right now. There's a major, how quiet quitting was this big thing post CV? Okay, now it's moved past quiet quitting And now there's quiet firing happening. Like just think of the cult of LinkedIn, right? LinkedIn is this weird place where people who get fired from corporations say, "Oh, I loved working there so much. I'm so happy to be laid off and fired. I learned so much value." That's all great and that's all true, but it's a really weird shareholder capitalist owned cult in which everybody, whether they're fired or hired, in order to get along, it's almost like a network of venture capitalists who've gotten together, and nobody can really say anything bad about them. I mean, you can, but it's just very strange. It's not really a social media. It's like a high schoolification of shareholder capitalism. Okay, and you're not going to find things very authentic because people are on their best behavior. They just want jobs or to hire or for their brand to have a certain impact. It's just, you know, we got to move into authenticity. Somebody, by the way, LinkedIn is one of the most disruptible platforms in the world. Okay, especially when you have things like TikTok. Wanting to ban TikTok or divest it makes sense. I get that. But banning it, the only reason you would ban it is because you've lost control of the conversation with the larger platforms. Think about what's happened, guys. We have Facebook Shorts, we have YouTube Shorts, we have everything. While authenticity is going up, attention span is going down. Somebody draw me a model of that so I can use it in my members area. Okay, there's got to be a ratio on an XY axis of attention going down and the desire for authenticity going up. Meanwhile, this crazy, I'm going to put out a crazy point here. Okay, and by the way, my video editor, you can take this chunk out as something special because this is what I really want to get to. The irony is that artificial intelligence is going to drive human beings faster to team human. Okay, and what that means is that humans are going to crave authenticity even more because the wasteland of the fake internet or the dead internet theory mechanism, which has been out for years, is going to become more intense. It's going to be more isolating. Okay, and this is where
Baudrillard.
we can talk about Baudrillard. Okay, I actually had to have a pronouncement of his name. Speaking of authenticity, because for some reason I have a really difficult time saying French words, and because my daughter is married to someone from France, he's American, but he grew up in France. I do not want to say anything in French wrong. Besides, they hate it, and they will hunt me down when you do that. It's just something about their culture. But Baudrillard is really, really important. I don't know if you've seen The Matrix. If you've been living under a rock, you probably haven't. But the interesting thing about this whole fake, the whole simulation theory, everything that's kind of happening in culture right now that this next younger generation and their children I'm seeing a rise to the top now, is all part of Baudrillard. Okay, and the book that he wrote. People don't know this, but his book is what the Matrix was built on. Okay, an introduction to simulation and simulacra. Okay, and really important stuff. The reason I want you to consider, I also want to do a shout out to somebody who's got the heroic task of trying to explain it to the consumer. An introduction to simulation. It's a philosopher. Dylan is really smart. I love the way he talks about it. He simplifies it because a lot of people who speak about Baudrillard and his influence in the Matrix and why he hated the Matrix films, a lot of people are missing the essence there. And he does a great job of explaining exactly what that is. The bottom line is this. Baudrillard's philosophy shows that the maps of meaning, the maps of the world, become more real than the world itself. In other words, the map eventually replaces the actual. Okay, the meta replaces the actual, which is kind of what's happening, which speaks to our dead internet, fake internet theory. Okay, like you look at all the fake traffic, it's a little bit more than that, but the bottom line is we begin to replace on the internet, we replace what is real in the physical world with things that are equally real or perceived to be equally real or more real in the internet or virtual world. Okay, we do mess around quite a bit in VR. I've worked on some VR projects and the rest, so we'll get into that in different videos. But that's the main thing I want you to know is philosophically, it's really important to understand that when the Matrix movies were made, Baudrillard's comment when he was invited personally by the Wachowskis to that said, when he finally cornered him, how does he think about the Matrix? His comment was something to the effect of, the Matrix is exactly the kind of movie that the Matrix would make. So speaking to authentic, he doesn't like it. So speaking to authenticity, what I really want you to know is that we're moving into a time where understanding this postmodern aspect of simulation and simulacra, what it really means, because Neo in the movie The Matrix opens up a book, and inside that book was simulation and simulacra. Okay, in The Matrix, I could find you a screen grab of that, but he pulls out something from it. I think it was, you know, it was a storage kit of some kind. And the point here is there's so many messages in that movie, but even the people who understand the movement towards inauthenticity and what's kind of been happening in the perverse incentives of shareholder capitalism can be readily seen in, for example, the recent congressional hearing where you have the families of dead children or deeply wounded children on Facebook who don't know the difference between the real world and the digital world, and they have a false sense of security and safety, and terrible things happen to them, and then parents are up in arms. Meanwhile, the penalties for some of the wealthiest men in the world are very low for these types of things. There's no personal direct penalty. So that's really what I want you to understand, is that we're dealing with a whole new system. And the type of content that we're going to learn, if you want to make money in this new system, in this new revolution, we're going to reboot the socially activated one web ring perpetual downstream traffic system for authenticity, for Team Human. We're going to teach you where AI should be used and where it should not be used. We're going to talk to you about how to use these systems. What is the psychological and neurological impact on individuals? How do you remain authentic? Do you need to spend thousands of dollars on a YouTube thing, whether you're a multi-million-dollar company or a mom and pop shop that are just trying to do things on the ground? We started to notice this early on with our Reputation Boost product, which deals with reviews and reputation management, that just an authentic "I'm sorry" or "thank you" with a video or even text is more useful than than a $10,000 video production or a $4,000, or an extremely expensive lawsuit. Being authentic and human doesn't work with everybody. However, on the internet, our brain is kind of wired to have a sense that everything is kind of fake anyways, and there's a sneaking suspicion. I truly believe that everybody intuitively, spiritually, psychologically, whatever your philosophy is, philosophia, whichever perspective you take about intuition, has a sense of emptiness if they're dealing with robots everywhere. Okay, you can kind of feel it. Humans have a nuance to the way that they communicate. And if we're dealing with a significant amount of dead things and a significant amount of psychological operations in which social media is being pushed out because it knows the triggers. AI is incredibly good at understanding human triggers. We're not that complex when it comes to what impacts us initially, guys. It's called the reticular activator. We're not that complex. Okay, there's new technologies coming out where the AI reads your emotions. Let me see if I can find that for you. Yeah, I don't know where that is, but we're going to be doing a video on it, okay? And what it does is it can actually read the emotions coming through. You can say things in a sad way, you can say it in an angry way, and it'll recognize the emotions, okay? So, and by the way, this is all part of work that was actually done before we even had the internet. There's a lot of different, Manfred Klein's called in the Sentics literature, okay? He talks about the wave of human emotion. And just so we're clear, here is the chatbot that can read your emotion. I'm going to be showing off a demo of this on one of our videos, so do check back up the channel. I'm going to be having a conversation and show you how to prompt this. And I also want to connect the dots with you on something called Sentics, Manfred Klein's. Okay, this book was well received by those trying to connect human feelings and emotions to math. Okay, I've known about this book for almost 25 years, and Sentics is very powerful. He actually understood the shape of different emotions, and his work was very forgotten. Despite him being friends with Albert Einstein and getting a huge endorsement from him, this book was quietly swept under the rug. And I can tell you, I know someone who's in the AI space who fully understands the self-mapping of AI for autonomous agents, and says that there's a classified department of AI that deals with human emotions and manipulations. Okay, we'll talk about him. He's a very interesting guy. His name is Sean. You've probably seen him in a lot of major podcasts. All right. So this is kind of what I'm looking at with you. I'm looking at all of this stuff because authenticity, they're going to try to fake authenticity using emotion reading AIs. But there's always, like Blade Runner, when we were talking about the test for humans, like Blade Runner, they're going to try to move AI to a point where they can emulate humans perfectly. I believe we're a long way away from that. Part of the reason we call ourselves superintelligence or superintelligent AI as a marketing company and as a philosophy company is that we want everybody to realize that that is their goal. They're moving towards AGI, superintelligence, but in the meantime, all we have is the ability to be completely authentic with content because Team Human wants to hear from other humans. We do want to use AI as an extension or as a prosthesis, but the overwhelming number of people on the web are responding negatively, just like Brock said. They're responding negatively to overly polished content that feels fake. And I believe that part of this is going to be a reaction to the overwhelming amount of content that is fake. Fake YouTube channels, fake Twitter accounts. In fact, it's already happening. I've talked to people. And sometimes they do provide very interesting things. But you notice how TikTok has the same voice they use over and over again. They just like, they hire, I don't know, somebody's got a trademark on that voice. There's one that's particularly annoying. And everybody's using the same voice, whether it's this topic or that topic, a good topic, a bad topic, an unrelated. Okay, this is not authentic and it's starting to move into people's brain and space, and you'll find them moving more and more. You'll find one group of people moving to authenticity, and I think that'll be the overwhelming. And then you'll see a smaller group that is on Team Robot. Okay, so that's what we're after. We're going to show you how to use authentic content and have your authentic marketing message and also just your authentic personal message as we reboot this for 2024. It's going to be authenticity at your center. Okay, you're going to want to put yourself at the center of this thing, and you're going to move downstream with your personal truth, and you're dynamic. You're not stuck in any one box. You don't have to be a certain way. You don't have to, there's certain rules and parameters and responses that human beings have to you, like sales letters and the rest. But even banner blindness, which was when I published this chart right here, the perpetual downstream traffic system over a decade ago, banner blindness hadn't even reached its peak. Now everything is turning into banner blindness. YouTube, what happens as human beings is we become immune to stimuli. And then we filter out all the things trying to influence us in the engagement economy. And then we try to zoom in or filter for just the thing that matters to us. And ultimately at the end, meaning, the great meaning crisis that we're experiencing, okay, is going to need something a whole lot more. We'll be able to use these things as tools, empathic AIs and the rest. But ultimately, we have to teach or mentor the machines about what that is. Okay? We have to understand that mentoring the machines is the next step. And this is the work by, I was going to show you the book, which we have up. But we'll get into that in another video. Okay? We're the ones who, through our authentic engagement with each other, will begin to mentor and program these machines in a way so that they can be used as a prosthesis in retrieval augmented search and retrieval augmented relationships and make us better at relationships with each other rather than replacing relationships with other human beings. Those are the two paths and the two choices. And on top of that, when we're relating to others, when we're offering valuable products and services, we need to make sure that what we're syndicating downstream from our content is equally as authentic and not trying to polish it and make it perfect and compare ourselves to everybody else like when we're in high school still. Things have changed, guys. The future is going to reward people with the most novel insight, the most unique information gain, and the most creative ability to combine real world epistemological facts with digital reality to help other human beings. My name is Russell Wright. I hope you join us as Super Intelligent AI. Look forward to seeing you on the inside.